Sunday night show. It's your latest transfer news as well. Lots and lots to talk about. United are back at training next week. Is that a good thing or a bad thing in relation to the transfer business we've done? We'll also be talking about Juventus, Rabiot, Rashford, Lukaku and a lot more. But we're going to start off with this somewhat shocking transfer news, I suppose, that's come out today. That there's a source close to Sevilla saying, an outlet close to Sevilla, saying that Manchester United have all but done the deal to bring Ben Yedder to Manchester United as a striking option for next season, which has sort of divided the United social media fan base a little bit. This is seen as a replacement for Romelu Lukaku. I mean, my honest opinion to this, first of all, is that, look, Ben Yedder's not a bad player. He's a good player and he gives Manchester United something very, very different. I think what United, my fear was that we'd get rid of Lukaku and bring sort of an Arnautovic in or someone like that, somebody who's a bit tall. But actually, I think the most important thing for United isn't necessarily height. You can get, you can get height from set pieces by sending your centre backs forward. I think United need quick players, creative players, and I think Lukaku was sort of stuck between any of those. First touch. Ben Yedder, very technically good footballer, very good with the ball into his feet, can hold it, can run with it, very good dribbler, very fast, good finisher. He's a bit small, and I think he's 29 in August, so, age-wise, he's coming towards the end of his career. Not quite, but you know what I mean, he's not young. But I do think he would offer Manchester United something very, very different, and clinical goal scorer. I think if Lukaku goes, do you rely on Marcus Rashford to score all the goals for Manchester United? I think that's the problem. Or do you rely on Anthony Martial to score the goals? Will Martial even play through the middle? Mason Greenwood. So I think an experienced striker who can score goals is quite interesting. I think it's quite interesting where it's come from in relation to Ben Yedder, because it's obviously a source close to Sevilla and an outlet close to Sevilla, and Sevilla don't necessarily want to move him on. He'd probably go for about £40 million, which is reasonable in today's market. And I quite like. I quite like the signing in the sense that if we can remove Lukaku from the club and we did bring in a Ben Yedder, it almost could be a bit of a. Obviously, he's a little bit older, but the sort of signing that I'm trying to think. Not quite a Cantona, because that was iconic, but nobody knew that when we signed him. But sort of like a sort of better version of a Shaqiri for what Liverpool's done, if you know what I mean. Like a player that you bring in that can come in and make a real impact for a reasonable price and give a bit of experience and professionalism. So I'm not opposed to the deal. I don't actually believe the deal. I've got to be honest with you, I don't quite believe the deal, if I'm honest. But I do think it's quite an interesting one, and certainly one to keep an eye on. Emperor says, what's up with Everton Suarez? I would love him in United. Everton, I don't know who you're talking about there. Are you talking about the Brazilian player? I don't think we've been linked to him at all, really. I think he linked himself to us. And Hooray says, Ty for giving many of us something to look forward to every day. Do you think it says something about a player if he has chosen Raiola as his agent? I think Mino Raiola is a greedy agent. So at the end of the day, I don't know why De Ligt would have chosen him. It's strange for an up-and-coming 19-year-old who seems to have his head screwed on to pick Mr. Greedy, but that's up to him, isn't it? I mean, I never felt De Ligt was coming to United, and it looks like he's going to go to Juventus. I mean, just very quickly on that, Adrian Rabiot, there's an Instagram or there's a tweet of him actually going to Juventus on a plane, or Turin, that's where Juventus is. So that's done. That is done. Rabiot is not going to be coming to Manchester United. He will be going to Juventus. I saw a little bit on social media of people moaning about that, and I've got to say, look, Adrian Rabiot for Manchester United would have been a very good signing. He's free, so you don't spend any money on him. He's a talented lad, and he's got, I don't think he's even 25 yet. Really, really good player. Would have been a very good signing for Manchester United. But you can't moan about this. Like, some people are saying, oh, Juventus get Rabiot and we get Longstaff. Like, if we'd said to Rabiot, come to United, he would come. I personally think United did offer Rabiot a deal because we need a midfielder. He's very, very good and he's very, very free. So I'm sure United did offer him something, but I think this is what many of you said going into the summer transfer window. Do you think the lack of Champions League football will stop players coming to our football club? Well, yes. Yes, I do. Do you think the fact that we've recruited badly for 6 years, will put people off coming to our club? Yes, I do. Do you think the instability and uncertainty around the club and the manager will put players off coming up to this club? Yes, I do. So you can't moan when a player chooses Juventus over us. I pretty much think United were in the race to get him. We didn't win the race. It's going to be like that. Ndombele, I think United were in the race. He's chosen Pochettino, London and Champions League football over Manchester and instability. And the only way we're going to turn that around, and it's a very, very sad situation to be in, because to be honest with you, Manchester United should be able to go toe-to-toe with Juventus and Spurs and win. To lose both of those, it shows you where we are. We've got to be realistic. We are an unstable football club with an uncertain future in the Emmerdale Cup. That is where we are at the moment. Our job, because it shouldn't be easy, because we've had six seasons, 6 chances really, since Sir Alex Ferguson retired, to get back on track. And we've wasted 6 years, over 400 million quid, 3 managers, loads of bad recruitment. So we are where we deserve to be. I hate to say that, but we are where we deserve to be. And now it's going to take us hard work to get back where we need to be, because you can't just get Rabiot and Ndombele anymore. Those days are gone. You're going to have to get the next player down in some ways. You're going to have to do a bit of creative scouting. You're going to have to do some creative development, get United back into the top 4 again, and then you'll be able to bring those players in again and improve. But I'm not angry that we're not getting Rabiot, because, yeah, he would have been a good signing, but you can't be angry about the fact that we didn't get him when you look at the options the player probably had. If he was going to choose us, it was going to be money again. And do we always want to go down that route? Pack 376, Rabiot medical at Juventus and Ndombele joining Spurs. Neves and Ndidi not for sale makes me think that Longstaff and Fernandes are only midfield targets for United. I don't think you're far off, mate. I don't think you're far off at the moment, if I'm totally honest with you. But we can only do with what we can do. And look, I'm as angry as anybody, but the truth is the truth. And the realistic opinion I have on your Manchester United is that we are in a very, very difficult situation. And that takes us to this. I see a lot of United players tweeting out and Instagramming out that they're training and tomorrow they're back for training. My stance on that is I'm excited at the start of the season. I said at lunchtime I'm getting a bit of buzz about what's going to happen over the next week transfer-wise. And the fact that we're not far off, building towards next season now is exciting. But if that team thinks that I'm going to give it a second chance, they're sadly mistaken. And that sounds really, well, who are you to give us a second chance? And of course it is. It's just an opinion. But Wan-Bissaka and Daniel James isn't a massive change to that team that let us down last season, the season before, with their inconsistency and their bottler attitude. So just because everybody's back in training, I'm not turning a new leaf and going, yay, let's give them all a chance again. No, you had your chance at the end of last season and you blew it. Some of you can become good players again and trusted again in a new team. But that team from last year is dead, and it should be dead. And Solskjaer, I think, wants to kill it. I think he wants to bring in 3 or 4 players and evolve that team. The team that finished the season last season, you don't get a second chance. No, you're not having a second chance. You blew it. Some of you will be given a second chance in a different team. That's what I want to see. That's why over the next week, I'm looking to see United bring 2 players in. And then while we're on the tour, maybe another 2. 6 new signings. Use some of the players from last year, evolve, build a new team with a new mentality and a new approach. But the team from last year, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that team again. I don't want to see that 11 from last season ever again, because they let us down. Some of the players, yes. A few of the players, no, I don't want to see it. So all this, yay, we're back in training and everything, great. But deliver us some better players as well, because that's the only way we're going to improve. We are not going into this season with Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and finishing in the top 4. We've got to get reinforcements in the midfield. We've got to make changes in the attack, and we must bring in a top quality centre-back, because all the optimism about a new season's great. All the turning a new leaf is great. All the press-ups and shuttle runs on an Instagram video is great. But it ain't going to do much against Liverpool and City and even Spurs if we don't make any changes to that team. We need a dominant centre-back. We need midfielders. And I think we need a right winger as well. And if we're getting rid of Lukaku and we're bringing Ben Yedder in, great. Because then we're making a change. So I think that's really important as well. Sean Atwood says, only seen highlights, but Longstaff looks like a good player to me. Maybe everyone is sleeping and moaning since it's not a big name. Sean, it's really hard on Sean Longstaff to say anything. I watched about 3 or 4 YouTube clips of him. He's only played 9 games for Newcastle. And what I said about him is, don't think he's Scott McTominay or James Garner or anything like that. The way he passes the ball about, he reminds me of Lampard, the way his body movement is. I'm not saying he is like Frank Lampard as a footballer, but just his body movement reminds me of Lampard, the way he passes and everything like that. The way he tackles is a little bit like Darren Fletcher. It's the way he gets involved. So they're not two bad things that, you know, whether you're watching Sunday League football, Sunday pub football, Championship football, Premier League football, World Cup football, you will watch a footballer and go, oh, I like the way he moves. There's you know, Daniel James, and what I'm saying is, look, Sean Longstaff's not the next Frank Lampard, right? But Daniel James reminds me a little bit of Messi. He's not going to be Lionel Messi, of course, but the way he has close ball control and the way he glides he's got his body balance, there's a little bit of a hint of Messi. Now, Messi's probably the world's best ever player, so Daniel James is not going to be Messi, but you know what I mean? Every player that you ever watch for the first time, you will see something in them. So look, Sean Longstaff, if he's been well scouted, we would back him as a Manchester United player. Do I think there's better options out there? Yeah, of course I do. But United, maybe they're going to go down a different route. Is a striker a priority? When do you do going for Goldbridge, says Alpha Kenny Body? I'm going to bring going for Goldbridge back this week. So that'll be on my channel, Mark Goldbridge. I think it's a good week to bring it back because we've had quite an eventful away from the football weekend with the Rants fight and DT gobbing off again. So going for Goldbridge would probably be quite good. Is a striker a priority? Not for me. The centre-back, the midfielders and the right winger are a priority, but right back wasn't a priority, and we've done that for me. So look, I think if we buy a striker, I mean, look, there's a very good point there. If we bought Ben Yedder, right? You've already bought Daniel James. You've already bought a left winger. You've already bought Wan-Bissaka, a right winger. You buy Ben Yedder, a striker. You still need a centre-back, 2 midfielders and a right winger. Are we going to make 7 signings? No. The right winger's the one I think we're not going to do. But we'll see. I'm not recapping yet. It's way too early in the show, Dillinger. John McGinn will definitely be far better than Longstaff, says Smiler Armstrong. I don't know about that, to be honest with you. I'm not a massive fan of his. Welcome to Gary Mace, latest member of the United Stand Members Club. Ben Yedder is quality. Remember how well Larson did for us, says James Bortles. Yeah, and there's a difference. There's certainly a difference in the sort of age group for that. Gregor P, what shape will we play next season? 4-3-3, 1 striker, or 4-3-3 diamond, 2 strikers? Think this affects our signings a lot. I think United need to go back to what worked, which was the first three months of Solskjaer's reign. We played a 4-3-3. The players played really well. Solskjaer looked like a really brilliant tactical manager, and we got ourselves back into an impossible top 4 race. We got back into an impossible top 4 race, and we started trying things like diamonds, and we were shit. So I want to see the 4-3-3, and I want to see the 4-3-3 where you have a sitting midfielder, a right and a left midfielder, 2 wide players and a striker. That's what I want to see from Manchester United. Why are we focusing to replace Lukaku instead of a right winger, says Ari Guadala? Well, you know what? We are a little bit light in the front positions if Lukaku goes. Although Sanchez probably won't go either, will he? I always forget about Sanchez because it makes me feel happier. If we play 4-4-2 diamonds, then a right winger isn't needed, says Ross Jones. Yeah, I hate the diamond. I absolutely hate it. Because if you play the diamond, it's either Mata at the head of the midfield or Lingard at the head of the midfield. And I don't rate either of them in that position at the highest level we want to aspire to be. Regards to Rashford, I just want to mention in relation to Marcus Rashford, the contract talk is still ongoing. But I saw something today about in ESPN that Man City and Barcelona and I think Real Madrid are interested in Marcus Rashford. I really genuinely do not believe that any top club would sign Marcus Rashford. I don't. And maybe that's really... I don't know whether that's naive or realistic. I just don't see it. Considering we'd want... Well, he's got 1 year left on his contract, then the option of another year. So it's effectively he's got 2 years left on his contract. We would want for Rashford, in today's market, whether he's worth it or not, 100 million. Now, next summer probably drops down to about 60 million because he's only got 1 year left on his contract. But right now, for Marcus Rashford, we would want 100 million pounds. Do you think Man City or Juventus or Barcelona or Real Madrid or PSG are going to pay 100 million pounds for Marcus Rashford? No, I don't. I don't know whether United are stupid enough to fall for it, but I think all these stories are brilliant from his media side or his agent or whatever, because I don't believe for 1 minute that any top club wants Marcus Rashford, or even if they did, would be willing to pay £100 million. It's all positional, isn't it, to get a new contract? But maybe I'm wrong on that. I wanted to bring it up. What do you see as accomplishing next season? Says Emmanuel. I think fourth is the minimum and probably the maximum Manchester United can achieve. I think Liverpool and Man City, funny enough, I tweeted this afternoon. It's way too early to say because we don't know what transfer business is going to do. But presuming Manchester United have a good transfer window, I think we'll have too much for Chelsea and Arsenal because Arsenal haven't got any money and I don't rate them. Chelsea have lost Hazard and will have a new manager. So fourth place, if we have a good transfer window, should be ours. We won't be catching Liverpool and City because they're way ahead of us. Could we catch Spurs? Yes, because I think Spurs have that sort of vulnerability to them sometimes, inconsistency. But fourth in the league, fourth maybe third, and then we could win the Europa League. If I'm honest with you. And a cup run, maybe an FA Cup. That would be improvement though. What are we going to use Mata for, says Mikel? I don't know, but we will be using him. Sell Rashford, he's crap and overrated, says Cresswell. So, well, I do like Rashford. I'm just saying I don't think anybody's in for him. Zero Blade 57, Rashford is not worth 250k a week, but neither is Martial. Yeah, I don't see people complain about that. It's funny, Zero Blade, because you probably didn't watch the show last night where Martial and Rashford were compared by me and discussed for 5 minutes in relation to being on 250 grand a week. So, and numerous people in the live comments agreed with it. So we did discuss it on this channel. If you're talking about general social media, I can't comment on that. Jamie O'Rourke says, if you could take one player from the treble winning squad and put them in our current squad, who would it be? For personally, it would be Roy Keane. Well, everyone knows it would be Roy Keane for me, because the team that we currently have lacks a leader, and also Roy Keane I think was a brilliant midfielder as well. Pear Shape says Rashford is in talks for 250k a week. He needs reality check. He scores 10 goals in a season and thinks he's a superstar. I honestly think that Jesse has changed the hungry 18-year-old I've seen destroy Arsenal. Well, it's interesting, isn't it, Pear Shape? Let's see what happens with Rashford this season. I think there's a lot of eyes on him. Welcome to Mark G, the latest member of the United Stand Members Club. I mean, look, I'm going to just offer something up here because I've just heard somebody say Pogba and it's just dropped something into my mind. Lukaku is apparently going to be back in training tomorrow, even though he doesn't need to be, because any player that played in June for their international club doesn't have to come back to training tomorrow. They can come back, I think, back end of the week for the tour. Apparently Lukaku's going to be back. He played for Belgium. I think Rashford and Lingard will be back. Fair play to them. And they played for England. Pogba's in New York now. Pogba's in New York right now. He's put an Instagram post off. He's in New York. So Paul Pogba isn't going to be back tomorrow training. He didn't play in the Nations League. He played in a couple of French games. He's been on tour for Adidas. And he's not going to be back in training for Manchester United tomorrow. Lukaku, Rashford and Lingard apparently are, even though they were playing international games at exactly the same time. Does that give us an insight into where Paul Pogba's head is at the moment? I don't know, I just throw it out there. But look, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's going to jump on a plane right now and he will be back tomorrow morning. He's going to be a bit tired, but I don't think Pogba's back tomorrow. And I think some players who did play internationals are. Like Scott McTominay, I think France... Yeah, Pogba only played for France in European qualifiers. McTominay played for Scotland against Belgium, I think the same night that France had their last game. So, and McTominay's back training tomorrow as well. So it's interesting how one player doesn't have to be back training tomorrow. They have been, like Wan-Bissaka's not back tomorrow, but Wan-Bissaka was playing in a tournament a couple of weeks ago. They don't have to be back if they played in June, but some of them want to be back. You know, personally, if I was Paul Pogba and I knew that players who'd been playing on the same international dates with me were back tomorrow, I would be back tomorrow. But maybe that's given us a hint of where he wants to be. John Chu says, would like to say keep up the great work. Huge fan of yours. Tillemans would be way better than Longstaff and he's only 10 million dearer. Thoughts? I like Tillemans, John. I do like Tillemans. I really would like Manchester United to sign him. I think he's on United's radar. I just think they're waiting to see what happens with that man I've just mentioned there, Paul Pogba. Martial should be earning more than Rashford anyway, says Active Dan. I mean, on that, Martial's a better player than Marcus Rashford, I'm sorry. Rashford might have performed better than Martial at times, but Martial's the better talent. I don't think anybody can argue that. But I do like Rashford. But Martial, whether he's English or French, he is the better talent, I'm afraid. I'm confident Rashford will net at least 20 goals this season, says Ravi Reddy. It's a massive season for him. Rashi, as Solskjaer calls him, he's got a lot of faith in him, and he's got to have a big season. He's got to have a big season. You know, I think Jesse Lingard's got to have a big season as well. I know he's had a lot of stick over the summer, but he's not going anywhere. In fact, I read today that, I think it was ESPN again, we've started contract negotiations with Jesse Lingard, which is very surprising because it was only a year ago we gave him a new contract. I think he went up to 100 grand a week was what he was reported to be on. He's now going to get another new contract because I bet he thinks he should be on more than 100 grand a week. But that's ridiculous because we gave a contract to Jesse Lingard new a year ago on 100 grand a week. In the last year, he's been shit. Like he's had a terrible season last year. Like I can't think of hardly any games he played well. So why are we giving him a new contract? I mean, brilliant. Well done, Jesse, and your agent, because you've got United to the negotiating table. But why do you deserve a new contract? You've done sod all on the pitch in a year since your last contract. You've done loads off the pitch. To be honest with you, you probably deserve 300 grand a week for what you do off the pitch. Brilliant clothing line. Loads of great social media appearances. But on the pitch, where it matters, I don't know why United would even consider giving him a new contract. Because your last one, you've done nothing since it on the pitch. So why are we giving him a new contract? But beyond that, it's essential that he has a good season next season because since that Christmas where he was Messi Lingard, when we're coming up for 2 years for that now, he hasn't played that well. So he's got to have a massive season. The thing about Lingard is I think Lingard will be very good on the tour. He always seems to be naturally fit and ahead of everybody else. So I think we'll see a really good Jesse Lingard on tour, but it's when the season starts that matters. Lingard doesn't deserve a new contract. He's done nothing. I would sell him, says Stephen Diak. But you know Lingard, Rashi, they're Solskjaer's boys, aren't they? He loves them. Lingard only good for the gram, says John Yusuf. Subscribe, says Throaty Devil. Yeah, we've got well over 12,000 people watching, so please do smash a like on the video, everyone. Let's see if we can get a couple of thousand likes while we're live. And make sure you subscribe if you're new. The road to 500k is on. Please do subscribe, bottom right hand corner, and get your notifications on, which you can do by clicking the bell when you've subscribed. Big week ahead. That's all I'm going to say. More on the Transfer Daily. Every morning at 7 a.m. Transfer Daily, and then every night at 8 o'clock we're live. And also anything happens, transfers or anything, we go live like we did yesterday, lunchtime, for the official announcement for old Wan-Bissaka, who's a very, very good signing. I'd get rid of Lingard before Youngie, says Jin. No one will want Lingard, says Nicholas Pitt. And would this be a good team? De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Koulibaly, Delot, Longstaff. Why have you dropped Shaw? You've lost me, Cadmer. Why have you dropped Luke Shaw? You've dropped Luke Shaw for Delot. No, it's a bad team. I'm not going to tell everybody the rest of your team now, which actually is Longstaff, McTominay, Pogba, Fernandes, Ben Yedder, Martial. I think it's a bit of a messed up team, that. What are you doing with your midfield? So you've got De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Koulibaly. Good. You've then put Delot at left back instead of Luke Shaw. I don't agree with that. Your midfield consists of what I think is a diamond, because I don't like it. Longstaff, McTominay, Pogba, Fernandes, and then Ben Yedder and Martial. I don't like the diamond. For me, it would be Longstaff, Pogba, Fernandes, a new right winger, Ben Yedder and Martial. But I don't know why you've gone Delot at left back. Which centre back would be your choice? Says Darshan. Koulibaly, very easy. Few people have spoken about what's his name? What's the name? Juventus. Juventus have been spoken about a little bit. A lot of people jealous of Juventus because they're going to get Aaron Ramsey, Rabiot, and De Ligt for under 80 million quid. And they're like, oh, this is how United should be run. And actually, you know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. That is how Manchester United should be run, but we're not. But we should be run like Juventus started running themselves 18 months ago, where Juventus are in a position now where they brought Ronaldo in. They always win their league title, which is something that's a bit different. But what Juventus are trying to do is be the best club in the world. They're trying to win the Champions League, which basically means you're the best team in the world. That's what Juventus are trying to do. Very ambitious to bring Ronaldo in, but they followed that up by being ambitious again. They've gone and got De Ligt. They've got Rabiot. They've got Aaron Ramsey. They're looking at Chiesa. They're looking at Pogba. They're looking to build a fantastic team that already dominates their league, but they're looking to be the best in the world. Now, Juventus are a massive football club. Massive. The old lady, they're up there. For me, Juventus are in the top 5 clubs in the world. Not for what they do on the pitch, but the big clubs. You know, like the Manchester Uniteds, the Barcelonas, the Real Madrids, the Bayern Munichs, and for me, Juventus. They're the 5 big clubs in my mind. So, the way Juventus have gone about that, very, 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 very good. Lots of Lube Shaw emojis there. Remember, if you want to see the emoji, use the emojis and get the badge. Just become a member. So yeah, I like what Juventus have done, and Manchester United could do that because Manchester United are a big club. But it all comes down to recruitment. Manchester United have spent a lot of money over the last 6 years. We have had managers that on paper should have been very good. Like Rooney only the other day said that Van Gaal's the best coach he's ever had. Coach, the best manager he's ever had is Sir Alex Ferguson, and he's a fool if he doesn't say that. But coach, as talking about how to play football and that, he said Van Gaal. Well, he didn't do well at United. Mourinho, what a Wikipedia page he's got. He didn't do well at United. 400 million plus spent on players in the last 6 years. None of them did well at United. So, in many ways, we could have done what Juventus have done. It's not like look at Juventus and go, oh, we should be doing that. We did do that. We did spend the money. We did bring the managers in. You know where it went wrong? The wrong managers and the wrong recruiters. Like whoever is in charge of recruitment at Manchester United over the last 6 years has made a multitude of errors. So looking at Juventus wistfully and longingly and jealously is not necessarily right, because we have had that opportunity over the last 6 years. We blew it. And this is hopefully something we're going to change now. But unfortunately, the risk is the same people who were recruiting players 6 years ago, or over the last 6 years, are the same people involved in the recruitment now. It's just how much they're going to listen to the new coach in town. And we'll see. Michael Lickley says, I'd rather a Cardi swap than use 40 million on a right midfielder. I mean, look, if you'd rather have Ben Yedder over Icardi, fair enough, and that's not what Michael's saying, but we have got the option of a swap for Lukaku with Icardi, and Icardi, for me, is way better than Yedder. New member, welcome Juan Diego Gutierrez Salazar. What a name, and you're very, very welcome, mate. Yedder isn't built for the Premier League, says Yadin. He is a little bit small, but I think he could offer us something a little bit different. Manolas is going to Napoli. John Cooper, yes he is. If that means Koulibaly to United, Fandabidozi, but we'll see. Where is Sancho going, Mark? Says Lindsay Rogers. He's going to a place called Dortmund, which is the club that he lives at. He isn't going to leave, is he? I don't think United are doing that deal. I always held out a little bit of hope that we would do the deal with Jadon Sancho. I think around March and April the deal was on, but then we didn't get Champions League football, and I think the deal was off. But yeah, I don't think we're going to do that deal, unfortunately, which is a shame. A bit tired today. Fosu Mensah and Twansibi need to be given a chance, says Marisa Amanis. Well, Fosu Mensah himself has said he's 6 months off being fit, so you can forget that. Fosu Mensah's not getting a chance anytime soon because he's had a bad knee injury. He won't be back. Twansibi, I actually think we should put Twansibi on loan. The Mexican-American MUFC says, recap, bro. So we started off on the show talking about Ben Yedder. Reports close to Sevilla saying that the deal to bring Ben Yedder to Manchester United is very close once Lukaku leaves. So we'll see. 28, going to be 29 in August. Quite a small player. I think he's about 5'7", 5'8". Quick, skillful, good at finishing. Something different. Let's see. What else did we talk about? We were talking about this coming week. New season, new pre-season. We need to see some new players. I don't trust the team from last year. I don't care how happy they are. I don't care how bouncy and positive they want to be. I don't care how fit they are. I don't care how much time Ollie's got to implement his way of playing. I don't trust that team from last year. It needs more than Wan-Bissaka and Daniel James. It needs investment in the midfield and the centre-backs and the right winger. And then we roll, and then we go. And then some players from last year can have a chance, but not on that team. With Lukaku, Lukaku is apparently going to come back training early because he wants to show willingness in case he doesn't get the move. So in case he's at United next year, he wants to show Solskjaer that he's committed, even though he wants to move. So, look, let's get that deal done. It's not every day you've got a club wanting to buy a player that you want to get rid of, so let's get that deal done. Pogba, don't think he's back tomorrow. Emperor says Rakitic to replace Pogba according to the news, but yes, Everton Suarez is Brazilian. He's linked with United, City and Liverpool. Well, let's see if anything develops into that then. And John Richardson says, why didn't we go for Hummels? Only signed for 30 million back to Dortmund. Look, Mats Hummels was a player that United probably would have been a good signing maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago. His age, to chuck him in the Premier League? No, not for me. Not for me, I'm afraid. How do you unlock the emoji? Says Tom Maskell. You got to become a member. Click the join button. It's not available in every country, but if you can, you will. You get a badge next to your name, and then you can use the emojis. Centre-back is most important for United, says Friday Aikin. Mark, do you think that Martial will have a breakthrough season, says Master Yang? Well, he's already had a breakthrough season. His first season at the club was a breakthrough season. Then Mourinho sort of destroyed Martial and Rashford by, not developing them over 2 years, as well as he should have done. So both players have a massive season coming up for United. But the interesting thing is, not only do I want them to succeed because I like both those players, but it's actually essential that they succeed this season, because if they flop, we have got two players on over £200,000 a week with over 4 years left on the contract each. What do you do with a player like that? What if Martial and Rashford flop? We're stuck paying two players £500,000 a week between them combined, with both of them having over 4 years left on their contracts, and both flops. It can't happen. There's a number of players like that at United. I think Lingard, Rashford, Martial have got to have good seasons next year. Consistent good seasons as well. So all eyes on United. It's a massive season ahead, and I think the summer break can make people sort of become a little bit forgetful about what we were last year. The task ahead of us is huge. We are the 6th best club in England. You don't go from 6th to being 4th just because you've had a good transfer window. Or because you've had a break, or just because everyone's going to try harder. We are the 6th best club in England till next May, when the Premier League season finishes. So that's where we're starting it. And to be honest with you, the way we ended the season, I'd have been more worried about going down to 7th or 8th or 9th, because those teams were chauntering up to us and we were drifting. So for all the positivity, we've got to be real, and we've got a lot of work to do. Jam Bon Jovi, I was kind of hoping we would have sold Rojo and Darmian by now. I can't see for the life of me how we will not sell Darmian this summer. I can't see how we wouldn't. And Rojo, I don't know about Rojo. We should sell him, but I could see him staying. We should sign Hakim Ziyech, says Jaden Barrett. Yep, a lot of people talking about him. He would be a very good signing for that right hand side. Sanchez top goal scorer then, says Jordan McGee. I think Alexis Sanchez will be at United next year, and I respect everybody who wants to give him yet another chance. 18 months on 400 grand a week doing sod all clearly isn't bad for some people. They'd still give him a second chance. I've seen the guy in real life. I've seen him with my own eyes. I've seen him on the telly. He's done in the Premier League. And look, I'm surprised how bad he's been. I expected him to have one good game, 3 bad games, that sort of thing. But he's just consistently crap. So, I hope he can produce a miracle next season and get back to the Sanchez that he was at Arsenal. But I don't see it. But I also don't see him not wearing a United shirt next year. And if he is wearing a United shirt next year, like Juan Mata, like Phil Jones, like Ashley Young, they will play quite a few games for United next season. They're not just going to be not on the bench or not in the team. So, there are still elements of deadwood, as we call it, in the team. What do you think of the Copa America this year, and who's going to win it, says Alvin Tan. I think Argentina or Barcelona will win it. Probably Barcelona won't win it. Of course, Brazil. I always get them mixed up. Rojo is a good backup and he's got a great work ethic and a great attitude, says Andrew Thompson. He's also a shit defender. I think he's atrocious. I think he's absolutely atrocious. I think some of his tackling, he should have had a lot more red cards than he has. I think at left back, he's worse than Ashley Young. At centre back, he's just about okay. But what I would say to that, Andrew, is why would you keep Rojo as a backup then? Because you've got Lindelof, Smalling, Jones, Twansibi, and then you're going to keep Rojo as well. Why on earth would United sign another centre-back when they've got 5? You know, somebody's got to go. Lindelof's not going. Jones ain't going because he's just signed the new contract. Smalling's not going because he's just signed the new contract. Twansibi better not be going anywhere other than on loan. And even if he does go on loan, Rojo, four centre-backs is enough. So Rojo needs to go so we can bring another centre-back in. That's how I see it anyway. Darshan Singhvi says Pogba out, Sanchez out, Rojo out, Darmian out, Lukaku out. But when? Well, if you got rid of all those players, I mean, who do you replace Pogba with? That's the very pertinent question, isn't it? If Pogba pushes for the move, who do you replace Pogba with? Like, throw questions at me, because I think it's difficult. I think it's really difficult for United. They had to buy 2 midfielders anyway. Then if Pogba goes, you've got to buy 3 or 4. I think United have been completely blindsided by Pogba, by the way. When I was at Old Trafford in May, talking to people at the club, they were quite open about how they wanted to bring players in that, you know, suit United and the vision that Ollie's got. That's not in the no information. That was, you know, people at the club quite happy to discuss that sort of thing. United are quite open about that. Whether they deliver it or not, I don't know. But they're open about the fact that they want to support Ollie. They want to build an exciting team that's going to develop and everything. Patience, obviously. Great. United are very open about that. And another thing they've been very open about is that Paul Pogba's not for sale. And I don't think they expected Paul Pogba to push for a move. So United have sort of been caught out by Pogba. Whether he's disrespected them by doing what he's done, it's football, innit? But how do you replace Pogba when you already had to bring 2 midfielders in? Do I buy the United stand top or the Adidas polo? Says MF114 Reborn. Tell him in the live comments. Do you want to get a polo shirt or do you want to get United stand FC tops? I do like the polos, they're nice, but I think the United Stand FC tops are very good as well. Hopefully the link is in the video description for that if you want to go and get it. Verratti, I would love Verratti. Who was it who said that? Belgi's Gamer. I would love Verratti. But of course, the problem with Verratti is his agent's Mino Raiola. So, yeah, it would cost you a lot of money. Milinkovic Savic, says Matthew Pease. I think he's off to PSG, isn't he? Eric Bailly, you know, what am I doing? You know, so many people saying that, but, you know, is that not indicative of the problem with Eric Bailly? I haven't even remembered that we've got Eric Bailly. Why forget Eric Bailly? Well, it's, you know, I like Eric Bailly, so I'm not doing it out of, I suppose it is ignorance, but, yeah. So people want to keep Rojo as a backup when you've got Smalling, Jones, Lindelof, Bailly, Twansibi, Rojo. 6. We ain't signing a centre-back if we keep Rojo. Eric Bailly, I mean, that makes me scared that we might not sign a centre-back, you know. Lindelof, Jones, Smalling, Bailly, Twansibi. He's got 5 centre-backs. And Rojo. Obviously, get rid of Rojo then. But even with 5, does he buy another centre-back? I mean, if he goes into next season willing to give Bailly, Lindelof, Jones and Smalling the benefit of the doubt, I'm furious, because I don't mind Lindelof and Bailly, but that's where the big mistake was keeping Jones and Smalling, because we need a top-class centre-back. I don't know, Eric Bailly, will he be here? Will he be given a chance? I agree with Rogvi that Eric Bailly is too reckless. He is ridiculously reckless with his body. Like, the body shapes he pulls off. No wonder he's always injured. Rooney calls Van Gaal the greatest manager. Any thoughts? I think he said the greatest coach, Darshan Singhvi. If he said greatest manager, he's pissed, because he's wrong. He really is. I remember Roy Keane saying that Brian Clough was a better manager than Sir Alex Ferguson. Now, everybody was in uproar, but to be fair, Roy Keane was probably saying it to goad Sir Alex Ferguson because they don't get on with each other. But also, to be fair, Brian Clough did achieve amazing things with small sides, like Derby County, won the league title, Won it with Forest as well. Won back-to-back European Cups, and was all a very, very good manager. But I still think Keane was saying it to wind Sir Alex Ferguson up. If Rooney is saying that Van Gaal's the best manager he's ever had, well, you only won the FA Cup. What he actually said was coach, because I think he was talking about Van Gaal's tactical knowledge of the game. I don't think he meant manager. But then again, Rooney and Sir Alex didn't necessarily get on that well, did they, at the end? We need to buy Milan Skriniar from Inter, says Leo. He's not for sale. And we can't even get him as part of the Lukaku deal, although I would do it. Roy Keane, De Gea, Diego Godin, Thiago Silva, Chiellini get a leader. I think they're all too old. So I think Thiago Silva could do quite well in the Premier League, Wayne Evans, but Godin and Chiellini, I think they would struggle with their lack of pace, to be honest with you. Three Kids says that Koulibaly reminds me of Eric Bailly, slightly reckless and calamitous. I think I don't know why you think they're similar, mate. I've got no idea why you think they're similar, but they're not. They're totally different players. It's like, for me, that's like comparing Victor Lindelof with Harry Maguire. They're just totally different centre backs. In my opinion. Paul Pogba says Europa League team. Look, with regards to the Europa League, we're getting into. I suppose it's because it's a big day tomorrow. I know the transfer window carries on, and that's going to be a lot of people's focus. But it is a big day tomorrow. United players are back training. Solskjaer is back with the players. We're going to start to hear stuff. So the work starts tomorrow for United. So it's very, very exciting. But with regards to the Europa League, I think that these United fans who are saying play the youth, you're mad. You're absolutely mad. I know we don't want to be in the Europa League, and it's embarrassing, but we've got to take it seriously. Do you know why we've got to take it seriously? Because we finished 6th last year, and if you finish 6th, you don't qualify for the Champions League. But if you win the Europa League, you get into the final. You get into the Champions League. When we were in it, we won it. Last season, Arsenal and Chelsea were in the final of it. English football at the moment is better than European football. Spurs and Liverpool played the final. Chelsea and Arsenal played the Europa League final. English football at the moment is the best in Europe. It's proven. So if you're in the Europa League and you've got no guarantee that you're going to get top 4, and we haven't because we finished 6th last year, we've got to take the Europa League seriously, because the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup they are the lowest. They're the lowest priority. They're nice to win, but they don't get you. You tell you where they get you, back in the Europa League, Emmerdale Cup. High five. So the priorities for next season are top 4 and the Europa League. And as much as we don't want to be in it, you cannot say let's play the youth in the Europa League. Play the youth in the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup if that's your stance. But the Europa League, I'm sorry, I know we're going to be going to potato farmers in Azerbaijan and all that lot, but we've got to take that tournament seriously, because if you do, we'll probably get to the final and we'll probably win it, to be honest with you. So we've got to take it seriously. They're the 2 priorities for next season in my mind. I don't like it. This is why I've been moaning about it for months. I don't want to be in it. I don't like it. It's going to really hit home when the Champions League kicks in and we're not in it again. But we have got to take it seriously, whether we want to or not. Koulibaly's my centre-back. Pickford's going to United. Oh, God. I don't like Pickford. I really wouldn't want Pickford at United. A lot of love for Eric Bailly. But how much love for Eric Bailly is in there, right? Okay, I'll ask you all a question now. A lot of love from Eric Bailly in here, saying, he's just been unlucky with injuries. If Eric Bailly stays at Manchester United, you've got Jones, Smalling, definitely staying. Lindelof, definitely staying. Eric Bailly staying. 4 senior centre-backs. United will not sign another centre-back. So, would you rather Eric Bailly stay at the club and we don't sign a centre-back, or we go and sign the top-class centre-back, the Koulibaly? What would you rather do? I just ordered the polo, says MF114 Reborn. Thanks, pal. Appreciate the support. If you want to get United Stand merch, the link's in the video description. That's a good question from Otter Fogg. Aubameyang or Ben Yedder? It's got to be Aubameyang, really, hasn't it, I suppose? Just to piss Arsenal off. Bay's too injury prone. Get rid of him, says Ben. Sell him. Sell Rojo and Jones. Well, Jones, that is the option. I would keep Eric Bay, Victor Lindelof and Chris Smalling and buy a centre-back and get rid of Jones. But we're not going to do that. We already know that. Welcome to Ryan Doyley, the latest member of the United Stand Members Club. Somebody just said both. You can't do both. Somebody saying that Pogba's not going to stay. We'll find out this week. Three Kids says Koulibaly top class. That's funny. But mate, you know what? That's rude. That is just rude because it's just your opinion. And I'll tell you what, 90% of that comments would laugh at you for saying he's not top class. Koulibaly is factually in the top 5 centre-backs in the world. And I would argue that with anybody. Comfortably in the top 5 centre-backs in the world. So you laughing about him being top class, I don't know what you're laughing about, mate. Are you drunk? Are you on the laughing gas? I don't know. But you've got to come back with more than that. You can't just do a laughing emoji about why Koulibaly's not top class because he clearly is. He clearly is. I can't think of 2 bad games by Eric, says Abu Elfor. I can think of plenty of bad games from Eric Bailly, to be honest with you. I can think of plenty of good games, but he had some bad games as well. I mean, God, what was that game where he cost us the game last season? Not the red card. There was another game where he made a right clanger. Any other good centre-backs in other leagues whom we can get apart from Koulibaly, Maguire, Skriniar and De Ligt? Praveen Thomas. Well, a lot of people are going to say Ruben Diaz at Benfica. Look, you know what? And even I don't know this. I don't go to this depth. I mean, there's only so many hours in the day. There's only so much football you can watch. There's only so much YouTube clips you can watch. But there are... Look, CDM, for example. There will be about 30 in Europe, across the European leagues. There will be about 30 centre defensive midfielders who are tenacious, quick, good at tackling, and when they've got the ball can give it to a better player. There'll be 30 players like that who would improve us. We all go, oh, Ndidi can do it, such and such can do it, such and such can do it. But there'll be 2 or 3 in the French league, there'll be 2 or 3 in the German league, same in the Portuguese league, there'll be probably about 5 to 10 in the Italian league, and you know, there's loads of them. It's just they're not glamorous names. So good scout. That's what good scouting finds you. Eric Bailly was good scouting because nobody knew we were going to get him. Got him from Villarreal, didn't we? Very, very good signing. Praveen Thomas, any other... Yeah, we've read that one. Okay, right, I'm going to end it there because we'll just chat all night. Tomorrow morning, 7 a.m, Transfer Daily. Every night at 8 o'clock, United Stand. Subscribe, get involved in the comments if you're not watching live. Please do smash a like on the video. Big week. Any live news will go live, whether it's tonight at 10 o'clock, tomorrow at lunchtime, whatever. We've got it covered for you. The tour's coming. We're off on tour. Flex is going to be on the tour, so we've got all that covered for you as well. It's your channel. And tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, it's return. It's the return of Discord. Doesn't work. Return of Discord, which is basically the call-in show. So tomorrow night, your calls. Can't wait. Thanks for watching. Your channel. Get involved. Speak to you all soon. Oh, Shirton Pavalari says, we need a defensive midfielder and a striker if Lukaku leaves. I don't disagree.